Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to get all of that glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem, Kakadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders, the great millstone, rule well, and the great example to the young brothers in the truth, and peace and blessing to the hopeful elect. And this a video from Rethink the Dollar. I want to know his name, Mike, Mike something. But he going into the name of this video is Russia and China ready to cut on a new independent financial infrastructure. And if, hey, if that happens, it's gonna affect the American economy tremendously as far as the dollar is concerned. The American uh, fiat currency is concerned, the dollar. You know, if this happens, it's gonna lead to what? The crash of the dollar, man. Hyperinflation. These things, America, well, if the dollar crash, will be turned into a third world country overnight. You know, so these are things we keep watch on. You know, we keeping our eyes on all these different things. Then you got ultimately that's a part of war. It's an economic war. You know, because if these two superpowers or or cut on a new independent financial infrastructure, it's gonna affect America greatly. Because where do America get all their goods from? China. Majority of their goods come from China. So in order to to get those goods, guess what they're gonna have to use? Whatever they using over there in China and Russia. They ain't gonna be able to use their own currency. You ain't gonna be able to use the dollar. If you do use the dollar, you're gonna have to get it transferred over into whatever they use in this currency. And what's the dollar gonna be worth compared to the currency they use? There's no telling. Maybe not. Maybe worth nothing. You know. But let's get into this video. Lord willing, this edifying lesson, and it makes sense through the spirit power you have by Shem Shai. Through the spirit power you have by Shem Shai. By Shem Shai.
While all eyes is focused on the FOMC meeting taking place today, on the other side of the world, there's another meeting taking place where Russia and China have decided to announce the need for an independent financial infrastructure. Let's talk about this. Okay, so I want to take a quick minute. Some article I came across this morning. Of course, I have to talk about it because it's right in line with what I've been talking about for several years now on the rethinking the dollar concept. And so, as we're approaching the end of the current global monetary paradigm, the next infrastructure is being set up. And so, it looks like, as of today, due to all the sanctions and all the jawboning back and forth between the East and the West, Russia and China, Xi and Putin, who are going to be considered lifelong politicians at some point, because of course Xi Jinping has, I think, a life term for his presidency there, and as well as Russia with Putin, he's looking to do another 10 or 15 years or something like that. I've done videos on that in the past. But the article today from RT talks about the meeting and just gives a little bit of detail as to what is the next move for Russia and China. But then again, it's very interesting how Russia and China are the two leading global powers that's leading the way, but yet then again, a decade ago when they formed the BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, India, and China and South Africa, that infrastructure there was intended to be the I guess the next monetary world order, but due to a lot of events with explosions in China and all types of other things, and of course this global pandemic, that's been derailed or it's been on pause. But my anticipation is that with the announcement of this new need for a financial infrastructure, which will be basically be the base layer of what they planned on building upon, it's not going to have anything to do with the petrodollar system, i.e., the Federal Reserve note, aka the dollar. So I want to read quickly just a little bit from this article here that came out today. It's entitled "Kremlin Reveals New independent Russian-Chinese financial system. And to give you an idea what's going on, it says Russia and China will develop shared financial structures to enable them to deepen economic ties in a way that foreign states will be unable to influence. It says the move appears to be a response to a series of warnings that the Western nations could push to
And foreign states going to America, you ain't gonna be able to put sanctions on Russia and China. You know, so that's all the sanction is, different taxes on China and Russia or whatever country they put the sanction on if they go against um the American and NATO and EU policy.
disconnect Russia from the Brussels SWIFT financial system. It says the payment platform underpins the vast majority of international transactions. During the talks today, Russian President Putin and Chinese counterpart Xi called for increasing the share of national currencies in mutual settlements and expanding cooperation to provide Russian and Chinese investors with access to stock markets. And then it talks about here, Yuri Yushkovka, Putin's foreign policy advisor, was quoted as saying, particular attention was paid to the need to intensify efforts to form an independent financial infrastructure to service trade operations between Russia and China. So there you have it, independent financial infrastructure. That is three words that will live in infamy throughout history as to how the Federal Reserve Petro system ended. But what I find to be most important is that outside of this information here, which is just the first step, I think, of many to come, this could be heading into 2022, that switch that might be flipped on that I've been talking about for quite some time now as to how China and Russia will take all the partnerships, all the currency swaps, all the agreements, all the infrastructure they've been setting up throughout the last decade plus, and actually cut on a light switch, which basically forced the world to recognize and acknowledge that the dollar is no longer needed and required to be the underpinning for the old infrastructure system, which is based upon the SWIFT. And so regardless of what happens to FOMC, that's just all a cover up to get us towards that next world order. And of course, in between that's going to be a lot of pain, because in order to pull that off, that means everything denominated in the Federal Reserve notes will have to go through a readjusting period or a heavy devaluation, as the Western Hemisphere will look to use the digital ID system to bring in the CBDC works that they're trying to actually accomplish. But outside of that,
And the digital ID system going into what, man? That MOTB, man. Hey, and the CBDC, what the CBDC, the central bank digital currency, central bank digital currency, CBDC. You know, and what you gonna need to use it? You gonna need that thing, man. And your right hand and your forehead, that thing that is June, and it ain't no chips. That thing, you know.
how will this actually be pulled off? Gold is going to be the centerpiece of it. So there's an article that came out earlier this week in regards to how much gold Russians have been accumulating, and it was entitled "The Gold Rush." And Russians reportedly buying record amounts of precious metals since 2014. And so for those that may not be aware, you might be new to the channel, I've been talking about Russia, China, gold, and all that stuff like that because it is the key components for the next global monetary system. And so for those that might be interested in getting a quick synopsis of what I call a dollarcation, I put together this visual aid here several years ago, basically give the entire timeline of what we call a dollar and how it would eventually end or be shifted into the BRICS nation, which you can see on this visual aid here. So the BRICS, BRICS, and then of course we know India has been accumulating lots of metals. We know Brazil has been accumulating lots of metals. We know South Africa is rich in natural resources, i.e. gold and minerals and silvers, you name it. So it's looking like they're going to be ramping up their activities towards building that new independent financial infrastructure. And of course, in order to establish trust among those nations, you're going to have something at the ground level to provide trust. And of course, it's going to be gold. So while all the digital distractions are taking place, all the MIT, Harvard, Ivy League boys are encouraging people to go towards a digital route. The central banks, whether we like them or not, they are the ones that are in charge of monetary policy, which then establishes how the currencies operate within these nations here. And they've already chosen to use gold. So the goal is by Michael Saylor and all these people talking about dump gold, gold is not this, and get rid of your gold. For those that buy into that, you're going to be selling it. And guess who's going to be buying it? The central banks, for what they have planned for decades ahead. So anyway, just wanted to share my quick thoughts real quick, just let you know what's going on around the world. So while the FOMC is happening over here, new independent financial infrastructure is looking to be set up over there. And of course, who's going to be stuck in the middle? The average Joe. So it's important to recognize what's going on, realize that time is dwindling, and you want to make sure financially you're on the right side of history. That has nothing to do with digits on a screen. It's all about what you can hold and what you can feel and what's been proven, tried, and tested for centuries. And of course, it has to do with getting your weight up. So a couple things I want to leave you with. 4 things to do. Take this video, share it with your family and friends so people can find out there's more going on than what we're being told. Second thing, on the rethinkingthedollar.com website is an opportunity for you to test your dollar IQ. 10 simple questions makes a world of difference to get people to thinking and really questioning what's going on. 3, download this report here that I put out years and years ago. It gives you a synopsis as what's been taking place surrounding the dollar. And then 4, click the thumbs up button, subscribe, and make sure you tune in for the next update. And make sure to leave your thoughts down below. Appreciate you.
I might have went to the wrong video, and I did, but matter of fact, I'm gonna just make another video because that was a good video. So let's go here. We'll go back to that other video. I just make 2 videos off of it, because that CBDC is leading to this, man. But I wonder if they're gonna give me a strike, but who gives a shit, you know? This the book of Revelation, chapter 13, in verse Revelation chapter 13 and verse. Um, I go straight to the point. Verse 16 it reads, and he caused them all, both small and great, rich and poor, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save him that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for the number of the beast, for the number of the man is 600 threescore and six. But the point being is they head first toward the NWO. And they new world order. Let's get that. They enterprise. But the Lord is not gonna allow them to get their enterprise going. Let's get this. Because the Lord is gonna disappoint these devils. This Job chapter 5 and verse 12, it say he disappointeth the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Yeah, the Lord is gonna disappoint the devices of these crafty devils, man, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Doing what is their enterprise? Setting up the NWO, marking everybody, causing everybody to go after the beast and bow to the image of the beast, bow to this system, fall into the hands of this devil, man. Verse 13, he taketh the wise Edomites in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forwarders carry headlong. They meet in darkness in the daytime, and they grope in the noonday as in night. But he saveth the poor from the sword, and we know the sword is Esau Edom. The Lord say, what King David said, deliver me from the wicked, which is thy sword, O Yahweh Hashem Yahweh, from their mouth, and from the hand of the mighty. So the poor have hope, and inquire, and iniquity stoppeth her mouth. Behold, happy is the man whom God correcteth. Therefore despise not the chastening of the Almighty, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh. And that's pretty much the point. Well, matter of fact, I keep going. Because you don't despise the chastening of the Lord, because the Lord is, if he chastening you, to correct you in righteousness, you shouldn't despise that. Because the things we go to, all these things, Lord willing, we be a part of those men, is just correction. or just the Lord trying our faith. The same way He did Job. You know, or the Lord correcting us for mistakes we did, because we ain't got room to make mistakes. Like, we make one little simple mistake and the Lord get on our ass. Whereas these other people in the world, they do shit over, and who ain't of the elect, they can do whatever they want to, and the Lord ain't judge them how He'll judge us right away and correct us right away. Why? Because the Lord loves us. He care about us. Because what? He compares us to his sons, and you supposed to beat your son ass when they messing up, man. And they going in a way you don't want them to go. So you got to beat them back in line, and that's what the Lord do to His men. Lord willing, we those men, and the Lord ain't just judging us out of pure indignation, man. So you don't despise the chastening of the Lord. Everything we going to is to get us prepared for the times we coming into. Verse 18, it said, "For He maketh sore and bindeth up; He woundeth, and His hands make whole." Yeah. So the Lord beat our ass. He makes sore and bindeth up. He woundeth, and His hands make whole. He gonna heal us up, man. He can go just, verse 19. He shall deliver thee from six trouble, yea, and from seven there shall no evil touch thee. Yeah, and the seventh trouble is when those missiles raining on Esau Edom, when he is at his table finna eat, and the Lord gonna rain it upon him while he is eating. And famine he shall redeem thee from death, and famine is coming. This is leading to worldwide famine, and it's gonna be a worse here in America. You niggas, you grow up pub and DoorDash and pizza delivery. You know, motherfucker pulling up to your doorstep with food. You can just go to. You got a grocery store, a Family Dollar. You got a Dollar Tree with food. You got a Family Dollar, Dollar General with food in it. Dollar Tree got a little food in it. Then you got your Greers. You got your Winn Dixie. You got goddamn Kroger's. You got Publix. You got Walmart. You got Target. You know. You got Food Tiger. You got all these different neighborhood Walmart. You got all these food places and all this food so readily available all over the damn place here in America, man. You know, you got all these things here. These people live. We live deliciously here in America, man. We far from a third world country, but all it takes is for that dollar to crash, and it's a third world country overnight. Hyperinflation kick in. You know, inflation is here. Hyperinflation kick in. That's when the prices change by the hour, by the minutes. You know, you can be 10 minutes from now, something can cost $5, and an hour from that, it'll cost $20, $25. The next day, it's $50. That's hyperinflation. And these things are coming to Babylon the Great, because this the most proud and most wicked people that's upon the face of the earth. Ultimately, these are some proud, poor individuals, man. And some of these people rich, but these some proud motherfuckers, man. These people, oh man, that's why this is the lake of fire. This is the lake that burneth with fire and brimstone. America is the lake of fire. This landmass is gonna be a lake that burneth with fire, man. And say, and from and in war from the power of the sword. Yeah, because war is here. War is on the horizon. War is coming. A draft is gonna come. And me, honestly, I personally believe that it's gonna be wars, on, boots on the ground, fighting, combat fighting before that ultimate button pressing start happening from these countries. I honestly believe that, because if they ain't gonna just rush in the war and then, you know, then the buttons get no. It A draft gonna come. People gonna die by war, man. People gonna be keep getting sent into the thick of the battle, man. And that ain't no easy way to go out, man. especially if these Americans ain't built for war. We ain't brought up like that for real on this side. The American army ain't worth a damn, man. You know, you might have a few mighty men, but these people ain't ready for that, man. It say, "Thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh," and that's going into the elect, who the Lord is speaking to. The Lord is going to deliver His elect from these things. It say, "Neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth." Yeah, verse 23 it say, For thou shalt be at league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the earth and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee. Yeah, so we're gonna be all right in these times to come. Lord willing, we're a part of that number. And that's pretty much the point. But the Lord is getting ready to come back and judge this place, man. The Lord getting ready to come back and judge this place, and I kind of got the wrong video, but hey, Lord willing, this was an edifying listen anyway, man. You know, because I was meaning to get a different video going into something else, but hey, it was all through the spirit that I clicked in and did a video on it. I need to do something anyway. So, Lord willing, this was edifying. I want to end it giving all honor and glory to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shabbat, Hashem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, Rule Web, and great example to the younger brothers in the truth, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, Lord, when it's edifying. And more talk on the on these countries, superpowers like China and Russia, switching from the dollar and going into their own financial currency is going to lead to the demise of this petrodollar. You know, going into and them implementing what the CBDC, the central bank digital currency. You know, and that's gonna lead to what that ultimate prophecy, the MOTB, and that's what these are the things we are looking for. You know, so prophecy jumping like popcorn, man. Matter of fact, let me get one more, and then I close it out. One more precept, nothing major, something that we always go into. This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 1. It say, "I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he shall say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon the table, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for a appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry. Wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith." And the point was, you know, for the vision is yet for a appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. And the book of Revelation is speaking loud and clear for those who have eyes and ears to hear and see and understand these things that the Lord is bringing upon the earth as far as prophecy is concerned, man. The MOTB is not Christianity. The MOTB is not sleeping white women. The MOTB ain't none of that other crap that all these other camps saying it is. But the MOTB is what the apostles and elders of GMS told you it was, man. You know, because it started with them. It started with the apostles to on down to his younger brothers. And we all push that the MOTB is the MOTB is what we say it is, man. And the other camps that's in like manner follow the doctrine of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai through the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. But with that, Shalom. Kwam Yashala.